As an archer player who played Call of Dragons already for almost 3 years, I'm really excited to speak about archer heroes and actually making the archer heroes tier list, right? Of course, we are going to be using Ruby and Kylan, which is the G5 archer heroes, and hopefully after watching this video, it will be easier for you to decide which heroes you are going to put your legendary tokens, right? S tier is the highest tier, the must have heroes. A tier is good, B tier is like depending on which heroes you are going to pair with them, and C tier is basically the worst heroes out of all, right? And of course, we are actually going to start with C tier, right? On C tier, we are mainly going to rate archer heroes with the open field PvP gameplay. And in my opinion, whenever archer heroes are having rally skills, which means -1 skill, and they are not really OP, that what actually makes hero C tier, right? One of the heroes which I'm going to put on a C tier is Sybil. I know Sybil has a pretty nice hero pair with Kinara, but I truly believe that not a lot of people are actually using Kinara with Sybil. Some of them are, but I believe Sybil won't gonna be the number 1 priority for your open field gameplay whenever we are actually speaking regarding the Sybil, right? Well, of course, there are much more heroes, much more PvP heroes, which are using all the skills in the open field. And of course, especially if you are a free-to-play player, you always want to invest your legendary tokens with the heroes which are PvP heroes, right? So Sybil is our first guest in our tier list, and next one actually, Sybil won't gonna be the alone in C tier, and that's of course Syndrion, right? I believe Syndrion is better than Sybil in terms of damage overall, but yet again, one more rally hero. I know Syndrion and Freygar is pretty nice hero pair, especially if you are in a G2, which means in a season 2, where Syndrion and Freygar is the newest heroes. But if you are archer player and you are playing the game more and more, you understand that Syndrion and Freygar is not actually that amazing, and they are not even the best ones. They are basically average, and at some point I believe people were thinking that Syndrion was the better than Freygar in general, but I don't believe that it's the case in the Archer hero tier list, right? So, as I mentioned, this is the open field PvP hero tier list, and Syndrion and Sybil is basically the last heroes in our tier list because they are actually rally heroes, right? But it never means that you won't gonna be using them. It's just really awkward to actually increase the skill levels of rally heroes. That's why I'm putting Syndrion and Sybil on a lower tier. Yeah, that's the C tier. We are not going to add more heroes here, and we are going to move towards B tier, right? And of course, I'm sharing my own experience. I'm playing with archer heroes on a daily basis, and that's how I'm actually putting these heroes in a tiers, because I remember all the merits which I got in the 3 years of gameplay, and hopefully this tier list will be helpful, right? The first hero which we are going to put on a B tier is Neeko, right? And Neeko got changed. Neeko got some update, and that update was pretty huge. Neeko was an engineering hero, which means one skill was useless in open field PvP, but after the update, Neeko is PvP hero, which means every single skill will be usable in open field PvP. Plus, Neeko is a different type of hero, basic hero, which means all the beginners, all the free-to-play players, it will be super easy to actually awaken Neeko, right? You will be able to get from the gold keys, and in open field PvP there is a variety of heroes where you can actually use Neeko, right? Neeko with Kinara, Falgrim with Neeko, Neeko with Sybil. Basically, you already have 3 hero pairs where Neeko will be great, and that's the reason why I believe that Neeko is better than Syndrion and Freygar. Plus, we know that Neeko has one more extra skill in open field PvP than we have on Syndrion and Freygar, right? The next hero which I'm actually going to put on a B tier for Archer gameplay. I know it's basically uh, overall hero, but Musyang, right? Musyang, which I like a lot. If you don't know, I'm running Kinara and Musyang, basically control hero pair with a healing reduction, defense break, a lot of slows, and actually quite a good amount of skill damage, right? That's the reason why I'm putting Musyang here, because for like 6 months at least, I have been running Kinara and Musyang with a huge success. Actually, Kinara and Musyang have been my second highest merits getter hero pair in the game, and that's the reason why I'm putting on a B tier. Maybe for other players who have not tested Musyang with archers, you won't gonna disagree. You will be disagreeing with me, but I'm sharing my opinion but from my own gameplay, and if you want to check out my gameplay, there is a lot of videos regarding Archer gameplay and the merits which I have been getting from those heroes, right? So yeah, on a B tier we have Nico, we have Musyang, and actually I'm going to be putting Kinara here on a B tier, right? I'm actually going to put Kinara better than Nico, better than Musyang, right? Kinara is my favorite archer hero from the day one. I have used Kinara, and Kinara have been my first ever awakened hero in Call of Dragons. Why I believe Kinara is better than Musyang, Nico, Stranger, and Sibyl? The versatility of Kinara, right? Kinara can be used basically with every single archer hero in the game with a pretty good success, right? Either you're gonna be a damage dealing hero pair, or you are going to be a control style of hero pair with a lot of debuffs. And of course, my decision was to go for the control, and that's why my talents in Kinara is control, and that's why the hero pair which I have my Kinara paired with is actually Musyang, right? And yeah, I believe Kinara and Musyang, my second highest merits getter hero pair, and plus I'm applying a lot of debuffs to our opponents, which is pretty nice, right? So yeah, this will be the end of the B tier, and finally we are going to check out A tier, right? On the A tier, there is a couple of names which are old ones, couple of new familiar faces, and I'm going to put Falgrim, right? Falgrim was, I think, the first ever legendary archer hero which was dealing damage to multiple targets. And if you don't know, in Call of Dragons, when there is an alliance versus alliance open field gameplay, you are basically getting more merits if you are dealing damage to multiple targets, right? With the penetrating bolt of the Falgrim's first skill, that's the reason how Falgrim is dealing damage to multiple targets, right? I know the exclusive artifact, which is Iron Tusk, is not that impressive because you have to stand still whenever using artifact, but I believe Falgrim's skill set by itself is really, really good, especially for open field PvP and mass PvP, right? The hero pairs which are great with Falgrim, in my opinion, there is one number one choice, which is Falgrim and Nico. Nico will apply defense break. Nico also has skill damage dealing abilities. Falgrim is basically skill damage user archer legendary hero, right? So for open field PvP and for us to get a lot of merits, Falgrim is basically better than all of these 5 heroes which we are seeing here, right? We also have one more hero in A tier, and it might be surprising for a lot of players, but Freygar is going to be the A tier, right? I believe one and only legendary archer hero who is basically flyer, which means you can be using Freygar with the Wyverns, which are the flying troops in the game, right? Freygar's versatility is one of the best in the game. Plus, as an archer player, I believe you should have awakened Freygar in order for you to utilize the Wyvern gameplay, which is really, really good. It might not be the best one if we are comparing to Celestial's gameplay, but I believe they are doing their job pretty fine. So, whenever we are speaking about archer heroes and archer tier list, we should never ever forget about Freygar. Her interesting skill set, lot of crit rate, additional extra normal attack damage which Freygar applies from the Force skill, and of course Awakening skill is also great, right? Plus, Freygar is a PvP hero, which means every single skill which Freygar has is usable in open field PvP, which of course adds up the value of this hero, right? And yeah, I believe here we are going to be stopping in an A tier, and finally we went towards the S tier, right? S tier is must have archer heroes, must have archer legendary heroes, which if you are going to be archer player, you have to invest in these heroes, right? First of all, it won't gonna be a big surprise if we are going to putting Magrat in a S tier, right? And let's not forget, Magrat is never alone. We have Magrat and Zaida, right? Magrat and Zaida is still one of the best legendary heroes which are getting merits in the game, right? No matter if we are comparing to cavalry, mages, infantry, or other archers, Magrat and Zaida still does one of the highest amount of numbers in terms of damage, in terms of healing, and in terms of merits in Call of Dragons open field PvP. The skill build, which is really easy, Magrat should be 5-5-5 minimum, which is pretty easy to actually add levels on those skills, and priority should be to awaken Zaida, right? Zaida is a PvP hero, Magrat is a garrison hero, and yeah, it won't gonna be a bad thing as an archer player if you will have at least one good legendary garrison leader which will defend your city pretty well, right? And I believe Magrat will be a super good choice whenever we are speaking about archer gameplay. Of course, main idea of Magrat and Zaida is basically healing. More you are defeating your opponents, more healing you are getting, and with the help of the Shadow Manticore or Sand Lizard, this hero pair is doing absolutely amazing amount of numbers. If you want to check on the channel, I have 400k report with the Magrat and Zaida in this current KVK, which I did in open field PvP, right? And I actually was live streaming during that fight. So, next heroes, which of course we always have to mention, the newest Archer G5 legendary heroes, which are Ruby and Kylan, right? Finally, after introduction of Falgrim and Sibyl, we are finally getting the new archer heroes which are going to be dealing more damage than Magrat and Zaida. Even if you are going to test Ruby and Kylan versus Magrat and Zaida, Ruby and Kylan will do more damage in 1 versus 1 duel. But if we are speaking about the open field mass PvP against a lot of infantry hero pairs, lot of in general hero pairs, Ruby and Kylan is the best choice for archer players. And let me explain you why, right? Basically, whole point of Ruby and Kylan is to deal damage to multiple targets, right? As I mentioned on Falgrim, Falgrim can deal damage to 2 nearby enemies, but Ruby and Kylan can throw at least 4 to 5 extra normal attack damage, which means while you're attacking one target, Ruby and Kylan will be shooting away 5 normal attack damage to a random enemies around the battlefield, right? Which means you are basically hitting 3, 4, 5 opponents at the same time. Now imagine what will happen if you have Awakened Ruby, if you have Awakened Kylan, if you have 3-star Wind Whistle, and if you have level 5 Roaring Rager. This hero pair will be your number 1 merit getter hero pair in the game, and hopefully decision was already made, because at the early stages when the Ruby and Kylan was introduced, people thought that they weren't gonna be better than Magrat and Zaida, but from the first video which I made regarding G5 archers, I said that Ruby and Kylan seems like a better version of Magrat and Zaida, but without healing, right? They don't have healing, but they have more damage. They don't have healing, but they are dealing damage to multiple targets more than 2 all the time, right? So imagine having highest physical attack, dealing damage to 4 or 5 nearby opponents, the merits will be huge, right? Of course, there is no healing, but you can always put Advanced Chain Strike in the Wind Wither, which is the best warped for this hero pair, and you're gonna get some healing amount from that warped skill, right? Uh, Basically, that's my tier list for archer heroes. Of course, a lot of people will have a different opinions regarding this tier list, but this tier list is basically made by my own gameplay, by my own fights, the amount of merits I have been watching these heroes getting, and in general, all around gameplay of Call of Dragons, right? Hopefully, you will share your ideas, which ones are S, A, B, and C tier archer heroes. I'm always open and glad to have a discussion to see your point of view also, because everybody has a different point of view and everybody has different ideas regarding heroes in Call of Dragons, right? So yeah, that's basically the Archer hero tier list, which are included G5 heroes Ruby and Kylan. Hopefully, after watching this video, it will be easier for you to decide where you are going to put your legendary tokens on which heroes, because that's a pretty big decision which you have to make, and especially if you are a free-to-play player, you don't have time to make a mistake when you are talking about legendary heroes investments, right? As always, if you like the video, press like, subscribe, share. It always gives me more and more motivation to make more content for this game. I wish everybody amazing day, morning, and night. We are going to see each other really, really soon. Bye bye and good luck.